Welcome to Kicking It Local, the podcast where I chat to people in the football community in South Australia, from players, coaches, officials, anyone in between. And today we're going straight to the football, South Australia, where I'll be chatting with the women and girls competition manager, Marie Spagnoletti. Thank you for joining me.
Hi Johnny, lovely to be with you. Thanks for having me.
I'm looking forward to chatting to you because women's football is growing in South Australia and also in Australia as a whole, because the World Cup is coming here. We've won it. South Australia is getting hosting rights as well. You're working at Football South Australia, so you're involved in this game. And for the last, over 10 years, you've been involved in many different ways in the football community in South Australia for the women's side of things. And I'm looking forward to chatting to you because you're looking at your career. You've been Metro United Women's Football Club, Adelaide United recently, and now Football South Australia. You must have a love for the women's game.
Yes, I do, Johnny. Basically, I suppose football's my passion, and I've been involved with the game over, close to 25 years. Player, coach, technical director, volunteer, committee member, and now recently, over the last 12 months, with Football South Australia. I'm passionate about football, particularly women's football as well, because I've been involved with the game for so many years.
So where did that passion come from? Was it a family thing, or was it just something that you just fell in love with on your own after discovering it?
No, it's definitely a family thing. I have a younger brother and an older brother, and they both played football when they were in primary school. Dad was a long-time referee, so he refereed at National League and the local NPL back in the day, whatever it was called. I came late to football. It wasn't my first sport. Only took it up when I was like a 15-year-old. Managed to get convinced by a cousin to come and have a kick around at Adelaide Blue Eagles, and I thought, well, why not? And I wanted to play the sport. I suppose it wasn't the done thing back in the 80s and early 90s. You know, it wasn't a chosen sport for many girls, but it is now, which is great.
What was it like playing back in the 90s and that in women's football? Because that's over 30 years or almost 30 years ago now, and a lot's changed, especially in the last 10 to 15 years with women's football. What was it like back then being involved in the game?
Really grassroots and fantastic. Less community or women's teams, less teams kicking around. Wasn't the junior structure in place. There were still girls playing, mini Roos sort of age, playing with the boys, but it wasn't as big as what it is today. It was still good though. We played at suburban grounds, and there was an equivalent of a National Premier League equivalent. It was run by the old South Australian Women's Soccer Association. So it was still good, but we just didn't have the numbers. And you're right, the last 10 or 15 years, the game has got better. The quality's good. There's more players. We're getting better coaching. It's a good news story, really.
So what's one of the things that you love that's changed for the game since then? Because like we mentioned, there's heaps changed, but what's the best thing for you in your point of view that's changed for the better in the women's game?
So many, but the exposure. Now we've, WNPL and State League have played on better fields. They get better timings, and, it's being covered by, our NPL TV. You can tune in and you can see any given game of a WNPL on a Friday or a Saturday. And the quality of the football is great. It's really, if supporters of football haven't got a chance to go to a game or to put it on the TV, until you actually they're seeing it, it's like, wow, the standard is really good and it's entertaining.
It is entertaining because I watched some of the NPL women in 2021. But I watched more of the Adelaide United women. When you look at the Adelaide United women team, most of those came from WNPL the year prior. So it shows how amazing the quality actually is in South Australia. So most of the people that watched Adelaide United, and it was on Channel 10 Bold on most Sundays, won't really know that most of those girls play in our local leagues. So what do you guys think from Adelaide United being successful like that? What needs to be done for like to try and get that flow? I know they still got a long way to go as well, but to try and get those fans to the WNPL, what needs to be done there? You reckon?
I think we need to be like the good news story needs to be told that you could be playing WNPL 1 year, and your next step, what you see is the W League Adelaide A League Women. Sorry, we should get the terminology right. So it's about, I suppose, it's great that over half the squad of the A League women's Adelaide United team were participating in 2021 in our local comp. So I think I suppose be better at telling that story, that the stages are you come into the game as a mini roo, you play for your local club, you next find yourself, a couple of years up your sleeve and you're finding yourself Friday nights playing at, hopefully in April, at the State Centre for football, and then your step is on Channel 10 or at Cooper Stadium playing for Adelaide United.
And it's not every day that those girls are played in the WNPL. They were playing against a Chile international and also the current premier of the A-League women as well at Sydney FC in Cotier. So not every day you get to play against someone like that in the local leagues and even be able to go and watch them at your local ground.
Yeah, spot on. Like we've got quality players like, Cote kicking it around and doing some spectacular stuff. It's I can't speak highly enough of the WNPL, and it's the stepping stone to bigger and better things. And from A-League W, then we've got girls that are travelling overseas and getting contracts in Europe. So it's once you can see it, you can be it.
Absolutely. Well, I want to talk more about the WNPL, the local game, a little bit later on when we get to your time at Football South Australia and your role and what it actually entails. But I want to go back a little bit to when you first started working in the game. So Metro United Women's Football Club, there's not many dedicated women's clubs in South Australia. There's only another handful others in the state. But tell me a little bit about what actually... what the club stands for and what it was like to be a part of an all-women's football club.
Yeah, it was great because all the hard work you did, the resources were all pulled in and it all went to the women. I suppose I was a founding member of Metro United back in 2006. So a group of us were kicking it around, playing football, and we thought, you know what, it'd be good to put all that investment and time and energy into a women's only, 100% women's and girls only football club. So we decided to create Metro United. They're still around. They're only one of three that are female only, and girls and females. So Metro United still are there along with Flinders United and Adelaide Jags. So they just, I suppose, all the effort they put in goes into the girls participating at clubs. I suppose any volunteers just want to see, especially if you're in the women's game, you just want to see it improve and grow, and us to do better.
In the future, do you reckon we should have more women's football clubs in South Australia, or would you like to see other clubs in the men's state leagues to start forming teams in the WSL or WNPL in the future?
I think there's room for both. So if there's like clubs like Metro and Flinders United and Adelaide Jags, I think what they're doing is fantastic. But I also want to see, it's great that there are NPL and State League 1 and State League 2 clubs that have fully embraced the idea of, putting resources in to growing their women's setup. So I don't think it's either or. I think there's room for both. And anything we can do as Football SA to support those clubs to help grow their women's programs, or more teams, or more mini roos, or juniors, or even the elite level, where we're all about supporting our stakeholders to help us as a huge collective to grow the game.
Yeah, so what you were at the club, you did a few different roles: junior girls soccer coach, you were the WNPL head coach, and also the club technical director, and also a junior technical director as well. So, what was your favourite role at the club, and or during your time there and being involved in it?
That's a hard one. I'm sort of a jack of all trades, master of none. So I suppose I've enjoyed trying a bit of everything. So it's sort of just, it worked out that what was next, or the next progression I tried. So, you committee member and you're a volunteer. So you're helping in the barbecue. Then you finish playing, and then you want to try your hand at junior coaches. You want to try and help develop the next generation. And then you do that and you enjoy that, and you think, well, why don't I try at the higher level? Get more grey hair and a bit more stressed, coach, the women. And then you sort of stop that and you think, oh, why don't I help coach the coaches? And I suppose I'm not really answering your question, but I've enjoyed everything I've done, and it was just sort of about timing. And that's with life, you close one chapter and you try something different.
Well, that's it. You've got all that experience under your belt, but during that time, you weren't dedicated just to football. You also had a corporate background, so you had a full-time job on the side. What's it like trying to juggle both?
Yeah, it's prepared me for time at Football SA. So working full time, and then look, there's so many coaches and so many committee members and board members that work full time, and then they dedicate this huge part of their life to their passion of football. So I suppose that would probably resonate with a lot of people listening to this podcast. That it's a challenge juggling it all, but you do it because you love it.
You got to love it, and you can't go past the football community in South Australia. We got some of the best people involved in here, and you obviously love being a part of it. But did you ever see yourself getting into it full time? Was that ever your aspirations to get a full time job and leave your corporate life behind?
No, it's just just hesitate. It's the first thing. No, it's funny how things work out. I always saw football as just my passion. And it's funny how life sort of pans out. COVID hit, restructuring occurred at my corporate job, gave me an opportunity to figure out what next. And I thought, when you reevaluate, well, what do I love doing? And it's timing as well, Johnny.
Yep.
So this opportunity came up, and I thought, why not? Hopefully, I was thinking at the time, I know I've got the experience at Clubland, but will that equate to actually doing football administration? And so far, it's been a joy, a real joy, sitting on the other side of the fence, dealing with all these stakeholders and trying to support, and they support me to try and make sure that we keep improving the way we do things.
So that's what you're doing now at Football South Australia, but the very first job was at Adelaide United, W League football coordinator. So what does that role actually involve?
Well, it involved a lot, but it gave me insight into what a professional football organisation and how they run. So it was everything from ensuring, the team travelling had what their itinerary looked like, liaising with the club to make sure everyone knew when their flights were, accommodation was, venues. Game day, it gave me insight on how a professional club runs, what happens on game day, ensuring the teams are out on time and strips are up and you name it. And then working with there's so many stakeholders, like Adelaide United was super successful this year. The players did really well, but you see all the staff behind the scenes and what they do to actually make sure that things off the park run smoothly. So it was a real eye opener, and it was working with some Adelaide United have some really wonderful, dedicated and committed individuals there. Staff and players. So I did that for a year, but it gave me good insight into what a professional environment is like and how they run things.
We've seen some positive things come out of that club of how it's run and the environment there. Did you experience that during your time?
Yeah, it was great. You could see The success this year was, you can see how over years, everything, the hard work they've done over the last 4 or 5 years came to fruition. And it was pleasing to see how successful they were on and off the park.
And for those that don't know, LA United made their very first finals appearance in 2022. So almost 14 years in the making, and there was a period of time where they struggled to win for, I can't remember exactly how long, but it was almost 2-3 years, I think. They didn't have a single win in that time. So for them to get to that point now is incredible. So having a successful LA United, what's it mean for the local leagues? Because we did mention half of the squad comes from the local leagues. But as a promotion side of things, and also the perspective of what fans have of women's football, what does a successful LA United mean, or LA United women's team mean to the WNPL in South Australia?
It's good for the game. For the WNPL players, they can see that, the aspirations to want to play for Adelaide United. We all like being part of a successful organisation and a successful team. So they get to see, the best players of our state go on and play for Adelaide United. So and it's good for the younger age group as well. If they can help lift the profile of the game and they have success, then that people get talking about it, and girls want to play, aspire to play at that level. Even the younger ones, the mini roos,
It's good to have that, because earlier on, 14, 15 years ago, we didn't have any the women's national league. So, and more teams are coming, so it's going to be good. And also, we're going to have the World Cup here in 2023. So, not too far away. We got some of the best people in. We've talked about having Cotier here in the WNPL, but we're going to have some of the best players. Well, actually, not some of the best players in the world coming into our home ground and playing here in Australia and also South Australia. So we're going to see some of those great players here. So as Football South Australia, you guys have been promoting it a lot. Just recently, you celebrated 500 days until the first ball gets kicked in the World Cup. So what's it actually meaning for you guys now that it's getting so close to the World Cup?
For us, Football South Australia, we've got a legacy plan that we've developed, and there's 3 pillars. One of them is participation. So with the World Cup, we see an opportunity to grow the participation numbers, at clubs, but also school competitions, even trying to get reconnecting with those that have left the game, older women in through walking football, all abilities football. So it's about getting girls and women participation numbers up, even social football, old chooks like me may want to, take up walking football. So it's about getting participation numbers up. It's also about creating opportunities in leadership. So getting more girls and women thinking about what they can do in the game and lead and develop that. And then the third pillar is about unlocking facilities. So trying to get, unlocking, facilities that are there so that girls and women have access to fields. So that's the World Cup. The World Cup is all about getting, the best players in the world on our shores, but trying to improve the game and leave a legacy.
Absolutely. You definitely want to leave a legacy, and I think it will as well, because Cooper Stadium, for most people didn't know, we couldn't have double headers there for the A-League for so long because they didn't have the extra change rooms. So now, because of the World Cup, they got funding and able to have 2 extra change rooms, which doesn't seem like a lot, but doesn't seem like something to make a big difference for the game. But it does, because now the women can play on the same day as the men. And there's so many options out there now that we can see moving forward at Cooper Stadium. And that's all because of the World Cup getting the hosting rights here in South Australia. Yep,
totally agree. We get five games in 2023.
Yep.
So that's fantastic. And, we get to see the world's best at Cooper Stadium. So, it's good news all around.
And also they're going to be training bases as well in South Australia. So countries are going to be based here. So that's another opportunity for young girls to go and watch their favourite teams train.
Yep, totally agree. 2023, there'll be lots happening around the World Cup. It's about generating interest and getting people, excited about the World Cup. But then what after this World Cup, what can be left for the game? So yeah, good time to be involved with the sport.
Absolutely, and your role is important in the women's game as the women and girls competition manager. So I want to get to know what's your favourite part about this role, because you've been involved for a long time now, many different roles in many different situations, because you were at a local community club, you were at a professional club at Adelaide United, now you're at a federation. So what's your favourite thing about working now at Football South Australia compared to what you've done over the last 10 years?
I like dealing with clubs. I like building rapport with people. So this is, yes, I used to be involved with the local WNPL club, and you would cross paths with people.
Yep.
Say hello, but wouldn't, you'd be friendly enough. But this role, I really get to see the inner workings of our wonderful clubs, and I get to deal with human beings that I know what it's like. They work full time and then they put in the extra hours and they're trying to make things better for their girls and their club. I consider myself a people person most days. And, I like dealing with our stakeholders, trying to make their life a little bit easier and to make things happen for their clubs. So that's my favourite bit. Is that a boring answer for you?
No, I saw by the smile on your face as you were talking how much you actually do love it. So the love for the game is what I love, and that's why I've got this podcast, because I want to share that, because football, not until I got involved in it by commentating and going to games did I realise how great the community is. Because I saw it from an outset. I watched a couple of games on NPL TV before I started getting heavily involved in it. And I thought, it's all right. I like the idea of it. And but then once I got in there, I'm like, geez, this is amazing. The community, the people working hard and thinking. On the outset, you think, they're all must be getting good money for it. But then you find out they're all volunteers. The dedication for it is incredible in the community, and I can see in your face that that's something you love being involved in as well. And that's exactly what we want to share here on Kicking It Local.
Yeah, it's the people. So when you're at Clubland, I miss a little bit of the connection of the catching up with people regularly, seeing a game or training session or whatever. It's that's what keeps drawing people back. And just like football in our state is small. It's a small community. We want to grow it. But when I say it's small, I mean everyone knows everyone. You can go to a game and you can you cross paths every couple of times a year, and it's a good community to be part of.
Absolutely. And also you mentioned walking football. I've actually been approached to play walking football. I'm in my mid to late 20s, and they're like, you'll be a great walking football player. So we can always join a team together, a mixed team.
Well, that's the beauty of walking football. You and I, we could start a team and grab some old friends or young friends I'm keen to give it a go. Apparently it's a hell of a lot of fun.
It is, and I struggle to run sometimes, so I think it'll be perfect for me. But every year the seasons come up very quickly, the finals finish, and within a few months we've got another season just around the corner. What's actually involved from a Football Federation perspective to get the season up and running and ready to go, so we got some football to watch in the WNPL?
Yeah, so the WNPL, right? The WNPL kicks off this Friday, the 25th of March. There's 5 fixtures happening, and there's some Women's State League as well kicking off this weekend as well. It's basically spending a bit of time fixturing, working with the clubs to make sure there are games at their preferred kickoffs and venues, trying to do double headers with the NPL, State League 1, State League 2. So a lot of work goes into making sure that the fixtures maximise people's attendance and getting people at clubs, to spend money in the bar and buy lunch or dinner at clubs and supporting them. It's everything from working from clubs to working out what strip allocations and procedures and meeting all the requirements to try and get teams on the park, and trying to lift the profile as well. So working with people like Matt Mays, our digital guy, to try and get content to help advertise not only the WNPL but NPL, State League 1, State League 2 as well. So It's an all-encompassing role, and it's varied.
So there's a lot that gets involved. It's not just like you pick a team, so this is who's going to play this week. There's a lot involved, and I'm sure it takes up a lot of your time as well, not just the 9 to 5 kind of hours, does it?
Yeah, so it's a huge it's an interesting time of the year leading up to the season. A lot happens behind the scenes, but it's great once the season kicks off. So everyone's super excited of seeing the WNPL kicking off this weekend, and then we get some more regularity with the role. Whereas off season is all about planning, and that's the same with clubs. There's, you speak to any committee member, they're looking forward to the season starting. So then it's more of a regular sort of type role and work. It's the off season that goes a lot of work goes into putting teams on the park at club level and also at Football South Australia.
So it's fair to say that once the season kicks off, you're a bit more relaxed.
Yeah, to be honest, it's this week is and leading up to this week has been extremely hectic, and it's great once the season kicks off and football's being played at that level, as well as juniors and community level. And mini roos start in April, so that's exciting as well. So yeah, come April, at games I'll look a little less stressed, a smile on my face.
Absolutely, and you can always on the weekends you can wind down, head to a game, or you can also watch it on NPL TV, because all the WNPL games are featured on there, which is an amazing feature to have for the women's games, to be able to have that access to all those great quality games.
Yeah, it's handy having it. So if you can't be at 5 places at once, so it's good that NPL TV is there, but nothing beats actually going down to your local club, entering the gate, grabbing a drink, grabbing a bite to eat, and supporting football. And nowadays that's what I like doing, just grabbing as many games as I can and going as a neutral supporter and just watching entertaining football. So I highly recommend, grab NPL TV, but if you can get to a game, that's the fun bit.
Absolutely, the atmosphere down there, and also the passion from all the volunteers and fans that head down there, and all the families as well. It's a great atmosphere to soak up.
Yeah, totally agree.
Hey, before we let you go, I want to get to Kicking It questions, which I do every week. The Kicking It Local podcast has to have Kicking It questions. So just no wrong or right answer, but who would you love to kick the football with on the park?
I'm going to be... I'd like to have a kick with my nieces.
Oh.
You'd expect that. Yeah, you like that? Go the family angle?
Yeah, I love that, because I just had a kick on my first kick a few weeks ago with my 7-year-old nephew, so I know exactly what it's like. So are they into football as well?
Yeah, so they both play, which is great. And yeah, we managed to convince them to take up the sport early enough. So yeah, so I've gone the cheeky route, the unexpected answer type thing, I think.
I like it, and
or if I pick an elite player, I wouldn't mind having a kick with Sam Kerr, so she can show us how it's really done.
Absolutely. Well, you might as well, if you're going to kick with Sam Kerr, bring your nieces along and they can learn from the best.
Yeah, totally agree.
Actually, two of the best, because you're there as well.
You're too kind.
Hey, who would you kick it with on a Saturday night and watch some football with? You can choose your nieces again, but you can choose anyone in the world, someone locally, someone overseas, and just kick back on a Saturday and watch some football.
Oh wow. I don't know, probably some of the world's best coaches. That'd be interesting to get a take of sitting down, watching a game and getting their insight. So I still have coaching. So maybe Jill Ellis, the United States national coach. Maybe it'd be good to pick her brains while having a beer and watching a football game.
That sounds good. And you can probably choose someone when they watch some Saturday night football during the World Cup when it's here in Adelaide as well. So
wouldn't that be good?
Yeah, you have many to choose from.
Yeah, for sure. Be interesting to sit with the Matilda's coach and get some insight on how he views the game. So that would be good.
Yeah, that would be very interesting sitting with him. Thank you so much for joining me, Marie. I really appreciate the insight into women's football here in South Australia and what it actually means to you as an individual working at Football South Australia and wanting to grow the game. So all the best with the season 2022 and also the future coming towards the World Cup in 2023 here in Australia.
Thanks, Johnny. Really appreciated the chat, and thanks for covering our game. Any exposure we can get through, podcasts like yours and your commentary is brilliant. So thank you.
Thank you so much, and I really love it, and I'll make sure I will watch more games, but everyone else watch the WNPL on NPL TV, which is going to be weekly, and also make sure you head down to a game and watch it at your home ground as well.
Thank you.
That is Marie Spagnoletti from the Football South Australia. Make sure you subscribe to Kicking It Local wherever you get your podcasts so you can get a taste of the SA football community. Plus, follow at Kicking It Local SA on Instagram and Twitter so you don't miss any of the action. See you soon!